Hey y'all, I bet you're wondering how to deal with this stimulant shortage. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to make it really, really quick. Before we do that, let me get a couple of the housekeeping things out of the way. So my name is Dr. Brian Dixon. I am a board certified child and adolescent psychiatrist based in Fort Worth, Texas. I own a practice called Mindful, where we reintegrate mental health into our modern lifestyle. And so a lot of my patients are dealing with the stimulant shortage. First and foremost, let's get some of the details out of the way. This shortage is completely manufactured. This is something that we saw coming, the government saw coming, and so I'm blaming the government for all of this stuff, right? So we saw it coming. It was like this perfect storm of things that just kind of aligned. It's like the Swiss cheese model. When the holes of the Swiss cheese align, things tend to fall through. And that's kind of what happened because during the pandemic, a lot of people went online. There were a lot of companies who came online to start doing mental health care through telemedicine. When coupled that with supply chain issues where some of the manufacturers of medications could not get the supply, couldn't get the materials to actually make the medicine, plus lots of people just needing to be on the medicine because they were being diagnosed. All of these things came together, and so now there's a shortage. And where there was a shortage in one area with Adderall, it's now reverberated through the stimulant ethos and kind of the ether, and then into other areas as well. And so how do we fix this? Well, before we get there, call your congressperson. So if you need to be mad at somebody, because I am super frustrated, my patients are super frustrated, call your congressperson. Let them know that we need to do better to protect the supply chain for medications, especially when it comes to mental health. And then make sure to register to vote and vote accordingly. Okay, so get that part out of the way. The next suggestion is be nice to your pharmacist. Be nice to your pharmacy. So I used to work at Eckerd Drug. It was a chain before I went to medical school, and so I learned lots of tips and tricks in the pharmacy realm of how to get medicines and to get them at the safest, cheapest way possible. Because of the way that this particular shortage is working, different pharmacies get different allotments and amounts of medicines at different times. And so timing is everything. And so when your physician or whoever is prescribing sends it in, it goes into a queue, and your pharmacist generally will fill the queue depending on the time of which the prescriptions come in. Well, there are some times where those rules can be massaged and moved around if you have a good relationship with your pharmacy and your pharmacist. And so that's where I always encourage folks to start at your local pharmacies. They need your business. They live in the communities that you live in. They probably even know some of the people that you know. So touch base with your local pharmacies first. If that doesn't work, you can try to talk to the big chain pharmacies, but good luck with that. That's all I have to say about that part. But yeah, and be persistent. So as a practice, it is really hard for us to try to track down where medicines are because we're fielding upwards of 50 to 100 phone calls in my practice alone. So depending on what's going on for your particular practice where you are, it may be even more than that. And so it's actually to your benefit if you reach out to pharmacies directly, and then as you learn what pharmacy has what medicine in stock, you send a message to your prescribing clinician so that they can do their best to get that prescription in. Please be patient, y'all. Everywhere in the mental health ecosystem is strained right now. Going into the pandemic, there wasn't enough mental health clinicians to go around anyway. And now that the pandemic has hit and now things have changed in the landscape, there's even less of us and less availability. So y'all, please be patient. We're doing the best we can. We are not your enemy. We are absolutely working on the same side as you. Okay? So that's the best part. That's the first piece of advice is make sure to reach out to your pharmacist or reach out to the pharmacy, especially those local pharmacies. When it comes to rationing, so again, here's the asterisk. Please don't do any of this stuff unless you talk to the person that's prescribing your medicine. So yes, I'm not your doctor unless you are my patient, but I'm not your doctor, so talk to your doctor first, right? Rationing. So for a lot of my kiddos, especially that are where they have enough stuff going on, they can skip the weekends. And so we'll do weekend breaks where possible. So if you can do that and do that safely, that's a way to stretch your medicine out. The good thing about stimulants are not like insulin. Stimulants are not like other medicines in the medical world where you have to be on them every day. Most stimulants will actually metabolize that same day, the effects of that stimulant. And so if you don't have anything going on a particular day as an adult or kid and you want to skip a dose, then you should be able to safely do that. Again, check with your team before you do, because yes, there are some kiddos and adults who need to take their stimulants every day. So get with a good pharmacy or pharmacist. Ration if you can. The next thing is switching up your medicine. So when the Adderall family became difficult to find, there were different versions of Adderall. Some of them are super new and branded, like lisdexamphetamine, which is Vyvanse. Other ones are older, like Dexedrine. Just kind of depends on what supply is available at your local pharmacy and or mail order pharmacy. And so when there are alternatives, and so talk to your prescribing person because they may have alternatives for you, keeping in mind that as people start to use those alternatives, then they come in short supply. Again, this is where it's this propagating issue. Some folks will skip over from Adderall and they will move you over to the methylphenidate family, which is your Ritalin family. And we started to see shortages in those, including the derivatives of Ritalin, which includes medicines like Focalin, which is dexmethylphenidate. And so the key is it's kind of like whack-a-mole. As long as you can tolerate a change and you're talking to your clinician, they will do the best they can to find you the one that works for you, keeping in mind that sometimes that won't happen, and that's where the rationing or having that good relationship with a pharmacy or pharmacist can be very, very helpful. The kind of last ditch effort is to do all the other things that we encourage our patients and parents to do, which is give lots of consistency and structure, make sure that your kiddos are sleeping, make sure you're sleeping, improve your diets by eating more proteins and less of those refined carbohydrates. All of those things are very, very helpful in the grand scheme of things. Rumor has it that by March of 2023, the shortage was supposed to get better, but obviously that's a lie. And so I don't expect the shortage to actually get better until the summer of 2023, when lots of folks should be able to come off their medicine. So to recap, please be patient while your doctor and your clinician or whoever's prescribing your medicine is trying to, while they get you settled. Just know that we are working on your side. The more footwork you can do for your own care and finding a supply, the better. Keep in mind, mail order pharmacies do exist, and so sometimes they can send prescriptions through the mail, and just do the best you can. So if you have any other questions, talk to your clinician. Thanks, y'all.